Welcome to the session of Quantum. I think it's the fourth or the fifth session we made for our patient and citizen community. And this is a special one because it's about the European health data space. And it's special for me because I'm a big fan of the EHDS. And on the other side, I'm really happy that we have this theme because you, our community, have made your choice in, I would say, in advance before we go all into our summer breaks. We gave you 3 themes in June, and then we said, hey, give us the order. What is your next theme for our next session in fall? This is the theme, the EHDS, and I'm happy that we have it. We have it on our in our session today. So next slide, please. Please be aware. Yeah, welcome. We said it. I will introduce myself in a few moments. We also have an introduction to the theme of the day. Then we have a discussion with the audience and experts. We have 2 wonderful speakers on board here and also a 3rd grade power lady for the discussion. And also we will have a wrap up and a little announcement for one of the summits, what will come up in Madrid in December. So please stay tuned. Next slide. Please be aware, this meeting is recorded and you will find the recording afterwards on our channels. Also, please be aware, we also do some photos during the session. So if you don't want to be shown on our photos, keep your camera off and let us know maybe if you have any questions to this, but at the end, there will be some photos shared. Thank you. Okay, my name is Birgit Bauer. I'm today's moderator. And as I said, I'm very happy to have this session today. I'm digital health and data expert. I'm also a patient expert. I'm living with multiple sclerosis for more than 20 years now. I'm the founder and the CEO of the European Digital Health Academy, a non-for-profit organization patient-led and based in Germany, and also the founder and the project coordinator of Data Saves Lives Germany, #DSLDE. Okay. Next slide. The purpose of the session is to provide an overview of the latest developments in the implementation of the EHDS, the European Health Data Space, and find out different perspectives of the next steps, maybe from an expert governmental and also a patient expert perspective. Address key challenges such as privacy, interoperability and cross-border data use, and also explore the perspectives and the priorities of patients and their organizations in shaping the EHDS. Next slide. Our speakers today, and I'm proud because we are here a power woman panel, I would say. We have Dr. Katharina Schneider, Head of Data Access and Coordination Office at the Federal Institute for Drugs and Medical Devices in Bonn, called in Germany Bundesinstitut für Arzneimittel und Medizinprodukte, short BfArM. We also have Antonella Cardone on board from the CEO of Cancer Patients Europe and a great patient advocate. And we have the wonderful Carola Schulz from the Empirica Gesellschaft für Kommunikations- und Technologieforschung from Germany. Carola is also one of our, I would say, one of the experts working a lot with patients, patient organizations, also in her projects. And she will come to our discussion later on. So let's see what comes next. I will give you a short overview about the quantum projects with a focus on data quality and utility level. Our challenge is very, very clear. In different countries, health and health data actors in the EU collect data, health data in very different ways. I have the experience made this weekend with my husband who was hospitalized. It's a lot of paper still here in Germany, I have to say that. And this makes it also hard to create a uniform system that ensures all health data of high quality and meets the standards set by the European health data space. And our mission as the Quantum Project is to create a common label system that guarantees the quality and the utility of data sets for scientific and health innovation purposes. Next slide. Quantum is a EU-funded project, and we have a consortium of 35 partners in 15 countries. We, as the European Digital Health Academy, are one of the consortium members, and our stakeholder community is Health Data at EU Forum, a projects forum, and this forum here, the Patients and Citizens Forum. We also have an advisory board. And as you can see on the slides, we are coming from lots of different countries and also actions. Today, we are talking about the European health data space. And as I said, I'm a big fan of that. And I just want to give you a short overview before I give the word to Katharina, because she's coming from the expert side to us. But the EHDS is a European Union initiative that will make it possible to share health data securely across the countries, the member states. It's about giving people control over their health data and using it for better care, also to researchers for research and innovation. Patients and citizens will be able to see, download and share their health information safely wherever they are in the EU. Just for the worst case, if you get sick across your holidays, for example, then maybe it will be possible, and I would say it will be possible, to go to a doctor in another country and share your data with them. Doctors will get access to key patient data when needed, securely, and also with consent. Researchers and policymakers will use anonymized data for treatments, prevention, and health systems. The time frame, the first idea was 2020, as it was announced in the European Data Strategy. In May 2022, it was proposed by the European Commission. In March this year, the EHDS regulations enters into force, and by 2030, full cross-border access and the use of health data across the EU will happen, hopefully. Okay, now let's come to our first speech. And before we discuss here, we want to do a Mentimeter, and we have tested out. Do you feel informed enough for the European health data space and its aim? Please scan the QR code on your screen and give us your short opinion.
In case you want to use your laptops, I also put a link in the chat. You can also access via that. And in the meantime, I will share my screen quickly.
On the other hand, if you have questions, please also write us in the screen and let us know. We are happy to answer that all in the discussion. We collect that at the moment. Halpa, this was before me. Okay. We have a very informed audience here, I would say. We can bring up the level a little bit higher, huh? Okay. Our audience feels enough about the EHDS and its aim, and this is a great thing because then we can have a proper discussion afterwards. I have prepared some questions for you. Salpa, can we go back to our slides, please? So now we start with the discussion. At first, I want to give the word to Dr. Katharina Schneider. As I said, she is the expert at the Federal Institutes for Drugs and Medical Devices, and she will give us some new insights about the EHDS. Katharina, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Birgit. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here and talk a little bit about the EHDS in general and about what's currently ongoing and what's coming up next. So quick questions. Do you have my slides now, or would you like me to share them myself?
Unfortunately, I haven't received them, but does anyone from our team has Katharina's slides?
I have it. I can open it if you want.
That would be amazing. Then I will stop sharing really quick.
Let's just share them. Do you see something?
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, great. Yes, I'm very happy to be here and tell you a little bit more about EHDS. So maybe you can go to the next slide directly. Okay, first of all, I just heard you all feel very well informed, and that's absolutely great. But for those who don't, I quickly want to start why. What is the EHDS actually, and why is it important to us? So maybe you all know that the EHDS basically consists of two very important parts. One being the My Health at EU part, and the other one being the health data at EU part. And what are they actually all about? So the My Health at EU is actually about, I think Birgit quickly mentioned it before, it's actually about all the citizens within the EU giving the opportunity to have their own electronic health record, being able to, have access to their own health data, and also the doctors, for instance, having access to their health data. And I think the question why this is important to all of us is actually quite easy to answer. Birgit actually said it before. The moment you travel abroad for a holiday, for instance, and you have the need for medication, the doctor there will have the possibility to check your record and see, for instance, that you're allergic to a certain drug, for instance. And of course, that'll help improve healthcare a lot. And then the other part is something that is really important to all the citizens too, but I guess it's not as, easily understandable as the first part, and I'm very, very happy to explain why we really need this. The second part, the health data at EU, is actually about sharing the health data, as Birgit said, in an anonymized or at least pseudonymized format for research and other important purposes, such as important policy decisions, for instance. And I'm quickly telling you why. So if you could go to the next slide, please. Yes, this is a circle that really explains why we need this. And I want to start on the bottom left, the healthcare. Just imagine you go to a doctor with, whatever you need. You get a diagnosis, you get medication, for instance, and all this actually generates data. So that is what you see above the healthcare. And it actually happens all the time, everywhere. But to date, it doesn't really happen or it's not being, these data are actually saved in their silos, and they usually stay there, not being reused. But when you go a bit further in the circle, you see what happens if you reuse these data for research, for instance. And this enables important medical developments, and those flow right back into healthcare, improving the healthcare situation to all citizens. And that is just a wonderful circle. And that really helps everyone. And this is why we actually think healthcare at the EU is very, very important. And many stakeholders are actually already working on this. I am telling you now how we're doing this. So next slide, please. Okay. So the idea of the EHDS is actually that we have many different health data access bodies in all the different member states, and they're actually coordinated by so-called central services provided by the EU Commission. So what's currently going on is we have quite a few wonderful EHDS projects going on, and some of them are the so-called diagram projects that are actually there to support the member states to set up those health data access bodies. So one of them, I'm just showing the slide of our German diagram project, but as I said, it's just an example. So there are many ongoing, and they actually are relatively similar. So what they all do is they are aiming to set up health data access bodies, and the health data access bodies actually have to provide certain so-called business capabilities. So what is needed there? They all have to set up a so-called metadata catalog, providing information to everyone which data are actually available within the member state. And then they have to provide an application process so that, for instance, researchers can actually apply for the data in a very structured manner. And then the data are not directly sent to the data users, but they're actually put in a secure processing environment, so that the access to the data can actually be very well controlled during the time of the processing. So it's really restricted to the purposes and the time the data are needed. Some of the diagram projects also have work packages regarding data quality and interoperability, and so does ours. So they're actually working quite closely with, for instance, the Quantum project to see what can we do to increase the quality of the data within our member state and also the interoperability. And then on the right side, you can see other important tasks. The health data access bodies have to be closely interconnected so that we get a whole EU network. We're actually doing this within the so-called community of practice. So all the different projects are actually working closely together and sharing best practices. That's a wonderful group that they all have to perform tasks regarding well, citizen engagement, as we're currently doing, and that's wonderful work, very, very important. Very important to inform citizens and patients about what is ongoing, setting up home pages, for instance, newsletters, also well, sharing their work in the social media so that everyone feels well informed. And then on the bottom right, you can see that in the diagram projects, it's also foreseen to establish training materials so that also, for instance, the staff of the health data access bodies actually knows how to use, for instance, the application process, etc. So next slide, please. So what can we expect from the EHDS? Why is this really important? The metadata catalog actually increases the finability. You may have heard of the FAIR criteria and the finability being the first one of them, so that actually everyone within the EU has actually an idea of what data exist and what they can be used for. So this is really, really important. And then the next point is that it will help improve the availability of the data, and also help improve data linkage, so that we get very new, better possibilities to perform important analyses to improve healthcare And then on the right side, you can see that one point that I personally consider as very important is that all the health data access bodies have to provide some sort of registry or transparency portal so that all citizens can actually see which data have been applied for, who applied for which data, and what actually were the purposes of the use, so that everyone can see, so that we really have a wonderful transparency regarding the EHDS and everyone can see what the data have been used for. So next slide. I just brought you a few, in my eyes, important myths and facts. So as I said before, the data are not sent directly to the users so that they can have them on their computer, and everyone forgets about where the data are actually stored. No, they're actually put in a so-called secure processing environment, so that, you know, the project is actually restricted to what the data are actually needed for. So very important data protection aspect. And then the data, second point is the data will not be provided in an identifying format, but actually at least pseudonymized or anonymized, so that the users cannot re-identify individuals from the data. So very, very important aspect. And then the last point, patients have no control. No, of course, the EHDS regulation foresees the possibility of opt-out for all those who wish so, so they actually have the control over the data. Next slide, please. So question is, what can I do? Because many people feel like, okay, these projects are ongoing, but what can I do to support? And you actually can support by going to the TEDAS2 homepage. That is a wonderful project preparing the so-called implementing acts. They're actually upcoming. And the purpose of the implementing acts is actually to shape the EHDS a bit further and provide really the information of what exactly needs to be done, for instance, regarding the secure processing environments or the application process. And those implementing acts are prepared, I want to say, in this TEDAS2 project. So what we're actually doing is many experts from many different member states are writing guidelines and technical specifications for the different topics that are important, and then they are published online on this homepage, and everyone can actually comment those specifications and guidelines. So please, if you are interested, go to that homepage, read the wonderful documents that are published there, and we're very happy to get all the comments, specifically, of course, from the citizens and patient community. So yes, you can support. Next slide, please. Okay, and then also, of course, you can stay informed. This is just our homepage from the Data Access and Coordination Office. So we're trying to keep it updated as best as possible so that everyone feels well informed. It seems that this community does, but of course, it is very important that everyone knows what is going on. We do have a newsletter there. We are on social media, but again, this is only an example. This is our German example from the DACO. There are many more out there, and please stay informed. And I think I'm finished, and I'm very happy to take your questions.
Thank you so much for this interesting talk, Katharina. Thank you so much. And what I really can recommend is to participate in the TEDAS consultation. I did it already, and it makes a lot of sense to do it because they listen to the people, also to patients and citizens. And if you want to take a little bit, I would say, influential steps, to do some influential steps, or also to give them the opinion, this is a great chance to do it. And if you have any questions, ask also the TIDAS team, or if you're from Germany, maybe also Katharina and the DARCO, because it makes sense to do it. It's our European health data space and not just a European health data space from some people here in Europe. It's ours, and this is what we should have in mind. Before we come to questions and to our discussions, I would love to invite Antonella Cardone. Antonella is the CEO of Cancer Patients Europe, and she will give us a short introduction what patients' perspective is on the EHDS. Antonella, welcome, and the stage is yours.
Thank you, and I'm sorry, as you can see, I am not in the best situation today, as I am attending a project meeting in Cyprus. So Cyprus is the best thing, but I am in a hotel room, as you can see, and unfortunately I tried to change the background, but it didn't work. So, well, as so next slide, because you have my slides, right? Yeah. And maybe next too. So I will so I'm Antonella Cardone, the CEO of Cancer Patients Europe. Just a few words of Cancer Patients Europe to legitimate my talk on this topic. So Cancer Patients Europe is a pan-European all cancer types patient organization. And currently we have 85 members from 32 countries, including Canada, the US, and South Africa. We work especially on policy at the European level, then research and advocacy. So next slide, so we get into the specific content. Yeah. So as Birgit mentioned, I will speak about the role of the patients and the patient perspective on the European health data space. So what we see essentially, so in terms of challenges to protect patients and the citizens, the biggest challenge is that the risk is that unclear rules could delay clinical trials, slow research, especially on rare cancers, and limit access to innovative treatments. So for us, this is the risk that we must avoid with this regulation. And so we have been active on the concept of the opt-out, which is finding the right balance between the protection of personal data and enabling the use of data for research and innovation to create tangible benefits for patients and citizens. So the mechanism is foreseen in the regulation on the secondary use of data, and the CP, together with a large group of stakeholders, published a statement on this matter when the European Commission announced that it would include the opt-out option, and I will mention you more about this. Then the scope of data for secondary use was unclear, so must ensure quality and validated data. So the Commission clarified this point during a presentation meeting that we had, and specific guidelines are expected to be published this autumn. And the regulation allows the processing of electronic health data for secondary use only for clearly defined purposes and under a permit issued by a health data access body. And the stricter rules prohibit uses that could harm individuals or serve marketing purposes. So people may opt out easily and reversibly, although their data can still be used for essential public interest purposes under strong safeguards and transparency requirements. And all data processing must occur within secure, high standard environments where personal data cannot be downloaded, and only pseudonymized data may be accessed. If they are anonymized, if they are anonymized. So re-identifying data subjects is strictly forbidden, and ensuring robust protection given the sensitivity of health data. Then governance must include patients and stakeholders to ensure trust. So this is our main achievement, I must say. The only way trust and useful implementation can be guaranteed is by involving stakeholders in the process. So establishing the coalition in 2022 has been a crucial first step in this direction, and it helped us to show how relevant the health community is and can help reshape the regulation that now includes the stakeholder forum. So we started this coalition very informally around a document on which we were seeking endorsement. And now this informal coalition is going to be part of this stakeholder forum that is envisioned by the directive. So the risk of excessive data allocation, which is a threat to international research and future pandemics. I wouldn't go into detail as it's, this is quite complex. And this is part of the European Commission frequently asked questions. Then there is unclear definitions. For instance, for the electronic health data holder, and there is uncertainty interaction with the GDPR and other EU regulations and laws. So to this front, we will need to follow these aspects closely, as the evolving European legislation and regulations related to health will continue to intersect. So it's a space that we need to watch. Next slide, please. So this collaboration with 39 different organizations, including patients, professionals, academia, and industry, was started in 2022. The coalition met regularly every few months to discuss at the time the developing EHDS regulation. We have published several statements, starting with one that was highlighting the main issues with the initial EHDS proposal. We had a press release, and so this advocacy effort led to the formal inclusion of the stakeholder forum in the regulation. So this was our main achievement. And as it was said before, the European Commission is listening to us, is listening to the citizens and the stakeholders group. And so this is our pride, and it's also very important for us to play a role, for us as a community of stakeholders. Next slide, please. So what is the progress made so far? I could say that thanks to the strong networking efforts, great progress has been made. but we still must continue on this path to ensure that the European Health Data Space is implemented in the best possible way for patients and citizens. And we have a call to action, a clear call to action on this point. And the call to action towards policymakers is to ensure that actionable, continuous and inclusive involvement of all stakeholders is maintained, formal engagement in governance structures, sharing of best practices to strengthen the implementation, trust and acceptance of the EHDS depend on real stakeholder participation. Next slide. So what is needed to make the EHDS truly work for people? So what is our view here? So a crucial element to ensure that the patients and the communities' voices are heard is the stakeholder forum. For us, that is an important body within the process. So its formal establishment is a major milestone. Now we must ensure that it is actively and fully engaged in the in implementing acts and in implementation of the EHDS. So key recommendations from our side include set up the stakeholder forum timely with sufficient resources, then ensure the forum includes diverse stakeholders. We have clear recommendations. And what is the current situation? We are currently on standby because the stakeholder forum will only start next year. Since we have always been an integral part of the coalition, we believe that we should be able to participate in this forum representing the patient voice. According to the final version of the EHDS regulation, the stakeholder forum is established under the Article 93 to facilitate the exchange of information and promote cooperation among stakeholders in relation to the implementation of the regulation. So the forum aims to ensure that the perspectives of various stakeholders are considered in the development and execution of the HTA. So there are key features of the stakeholder forum, including the composition, the appointment of members, and how the stakeholder forum should function. So, and we still have some pending issues, but at least it is included, the establishment is included into the regulation. So we should be safe on that side. Next slide, please. So there are still other recommendations from our side. There should be effective communication, and that is essential to ensure that the patients and citizens fully understand the purpose, the benefits, and the potential for their own benefit of the EHDS, enabling them to engage with the system and trust the system as it has been established. Then invest in capacity building and sustainable EU funding to equip all stakeholders with the skills, knowledge, and resources needed for effective and equitable EHDS implementation. We also believe that there should be a clear call to ensure that the EHDS board is managed with transparency through regular public consultations, open publication of agendas and minutes, and regular meaningful exchanges with the stakeholder forum. what should be avoided, because I mean we also need to make sure that some burdens are not added, and so that is so what we should really avoid is extra bureaucracy for healthcare professionals and fragmented interpretation of the law across the different member states. And I think this is my last slide. So thank you.
Thank you, dear Antonella, and thank you for that great perspective and also giving us an insight what is necessary to do with the EHDS. And I think it's also important for health data labeling. This is why we are doing these forums and this session also, to keep the information, I would say, flowing and going through the communities to make sure that people have informations in place. Now we're coming to a discussion. And it's great to see that we have some few more minutes. I expanded our time a little bit to make sure that we have a little bit more minutes to discuss. I want to invite also Carola Schulz from Empirica. Carola, I think you are one of those working on both sides, data analyze and also communities. You're working with patients. I know that because we have worked together already. And what do you think? The EHDS regulation is finally there, but turning a vision into a practice is not so easy sometimes as we think, and it's never easy. Where do you see the real progress at the moment? And what do you think, or what is your expertise regarding patients? What do you learn from them?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I would like to highlight, first of all, one of the main progresses I found during the last years was this inclusion of the opt-out option, which was in part of thanks to coalitions involving patients and beyond, like Antonella just mentioned, because that was something that was not originally included in the original regulation. So enforcing once again that it really has an impact if stakeholders voice their opinion, either individually and especially in coalitions. I think, what I've learned from patients is to look at the individual level, which is always the individual level and the collective challenges that arise at individual level, meaning especially for the individual electronic health record, especially when we talk about data quality, which is the main topic of quantum. Often within the EHDS and within research and policy, this is looking only at population level data quality, meaning we need to have good data quality so that we can do great research and policy, which is very important. This links back to the wonderful cycle that Katharina mentioned, but it's also very important to put more focus on the individual level data quality for the patients, meaning that there are no wrong obviously wrong data in my EHR, that there are no misspelled data, that the data elements are identified in a manner that they can't be mistaken, not in my country, but especially not if I'm traveling, which is what we often mention. We have in another project which I'm working in XShare, we are working around the European Health Data Exchange format, which actually is one main element of ensuring data quality of EHR data. And we've had some recent survey results, which had only a small sample, but which gave some reason for optimism, showing that 65% of member states who had answered said that they monitor data quality on EHR level, electronic health record level, which I think is very important, and which I think is important to keep in mind. I also did the quantum surveys that the project did, where all invited experts were asked about what data quality dimensions are most important for us. And I realized that a lot of these dimensions are very important also on patient level, because if your symptoms, if your lab results, if your imaging reports, for example, are wrongly coded or simply wrongly ambiguously transcribed in your EHR, this can lead to a wrong diagnosis, wrong medication, which in the ultimate case can cost lives. So I would say this is the most important thing, to redirect it to a personal level, both regarding the rights we have in the EHDS, like the opt-out, but also regarding the topic of quantum, which is data quality.
Yeah, and I think data quality, as you said, Carola, it's such an important thing also for therapy options and new innovations. And we need that quality also to make sure that next therapy steps can be effective and I would say efficient in a way too. Katharina, I think Germany has to align national health systems with EU ambitions. What is the biggest challenge at the moment right now? Is it more technically, legally, or is it more a cultural challenge? So do we have maybe changed the German cultural, I would say, mood, or is it more a technical thing? What do you think?
Well, I guess we do have quite a few challenges. I guess all of this applies a little bit. But actually, we're actually moving forward quite a lot in all those areas. Technically, we're actually working on, building an infrastructure that is directly connected to the EU central services. So we're actually working on this too. But yes, the next step is actually discussing this with all the stakeholders here in Germany at the national level and see who can play which role within the EHDS. So this is a discussion that is currently ongoing in Germany as well as many other different member states, as I hear. Quite an important question to see what do we have already, who has maybe already established a secure processing environment, for instance, what can be reused for the EHDS, what needs to be built technically, and how can we interconnect this. So this is quite important on the technical side, and we're working on this. And then about trust, of course, I mean, in Germany, we don't have such a long history of data sharing, such as in other member states, where this has been ongoing for quite a while, and we do know that the trust in the citizens is quite deep, I want to say. But I think we're really on the right way here. So we're trying to communicate as best as possible to really encourage everyone to be part of it, to see the benefits for all the citizens and the patients, communicate on all the channels so that everyone feels, comfortable with what is going on. And, I think we're on a good way.
I would love to have that, to be honest. I agree totally. Antonella, what do you think? What would success like from a patient organization's point of view? When would you say from a patient perspective or from a patient organization's perspective, this EHDS is the most successful project across Europe what we had in the past, maybe?
Well, I could say if the data that we provide are used in a meaningful way, for us that would be a success, because for patients compared to citizens are already more sensitized to share data and on the importance of sharing data for research. And for facilitating their traveling if they go abroad, so that their health records are easily founded. But the problem is, and the risk that we see now is that despite our effort of providing data, those data are not used in the most effective and efficient way because of interoperability challenges, because of like data protection from institutions for the benefit of the institutions and not the benefit of the patients. So that is our challenge. And that would mean a big success if those data that we are so much willing to provide are used in an effective and efficient way.
So would you agree if I say health data labeling, what we are doing at the Quantum Project, can help also to generate the trust in this and also help to share good data, trustworthy data, and I would say good structured data to citizens, patients, and also to the researchers. So it makes sense to have something like a certificate.
Yes, yes, of course, and not to mention the importance of such projects at the European level, because they involve all the relevant stakeholders, and they are immensely useful to develop trust among the different stakeholders. So, I mean, I wish there were more of this kind of projects, and of course, let's stay in touch because it's very important. I mean, we can help disseminating the outcomes of the Quantum Project. Yeah.
I would say we're founding here a new network today. So, and we have to find that because I think it's important. I have one last question, maybe one not so normal. Last week, I was participating at an event with representatives from Central Eastern Europe. Countries, what we are not always hearing in that way, because we are talking more about the Western European countries. Do you see, are they on board with the EHDS, especially the Eastern European member states of the European Union, or do we have more gaps in here? So are patients and citizens involved, and also the technical structure? What do you ladies see coming up from that, or have you heard something about? Because this keeps me really busy. How can we bring also those patients into this bigger group? Because sometimes I feel that they are not so involved as they maybe should be, especially in the Eastern European countries.
Well, from my side, if I can say, as I have my mic already open, what I can say is that in Eastern European countries, that is where absolutely the patients cannot be blamed, because as I said, the patients are fully on board. The problem is in those countries essentially is the institutions and I can say like the how the institutions are modernizing themselves in order to be up to speed with some other countries. Not to mention that also our I mean like Western countries are much behind in terms of technology, especially public institutions. So it's not that we are well positioned, but in Eastern Europe, they are not up to the same level. And this is a matter of funds, allocation of resources, but also a matter of mentality, the way people are normally thinking that public institutions should be managed.
Okay, I have just one last question because we're running a little bit of time, but this is going to all, and let's start with Katharina. I think this is a very ambitious project. To create the EHDS is not a thing, it's a challenge. And sometimes it's hard, I would say. Clock is ticking and everyone has to do a lot of work, but can we meet the challenges within the planned timeline, or should we maybe already preparing maybe for some delays to make sure that all things are correctly and good in place, not just done? What do you think?
Well, I know this is extremely ambitious, and I know we do have quite a few challenges on our way, is absolutely sure. But what I also see is that we do have wonderful experts in all these projects, and I do see that a lot is happening in the different member states. So yes, I'm quite convinced that we've come quite far, and I think this is what we're all aiming for. Let's see what, you know, what hurdles will appear. I guess there will be quite a few on the way. But I am really convinced that we're getting very, very, very far in the next few years, and that we are able to achieve a lot. I do see this in the projects and TEDAs. I know those timelines are always super short, but then I'm also again and again overwhelmed what happens in such a short time. So yeah, I think we're on a good way.
Okay, I hope that too. Carola, what do you think?
Yes.
Do we stay in the framework? Do we reach the goal?
I think we do, because what we sometimes forget is that a lot of structures that are precursors of the structures foreseen in the EHDS already existed before or are existing, especially regarding the government structures. I don't want to go into so much detail because rattling off this list of government structures is a bit boring. But many groups and many structures already exist, which are, I think, a good template for this. If we, of course, are open to take into account how they can be further improved to, for example, create the EHDS stakeholder group that Antonella mentioned, and to create an EHDS board that is really capable of managing this well, and also considering the stakeholder points of view, as Antonella also said.
Okay, thank you very much. Last but not least, Antonella, short answer? What do you think?
I mean, I really don't like delays, so I think that the sooner we start, the better.
Mm-hmm.
As in any case, we will never be able to start in the optimal situation. So there will always be something that needs to be fixed while running, as we say. So let's get it started.
Okay, but we have a positive and optimistic mood for closing this discussion, and this is what I really like, because I'm optimistic too. Thank you, Antonella, Katharina, and Carola, for this great discussion. We have now another Mentimeter question, and as this runs out, maybe we can also have, I know there is an announcement coming in. Teresa, can we have you on the screen now to make your announcement, and then we have a look at the Mentimeter.
Yes, I will be making the announcement really quick. Hello, everyone, once again. As Digital Europe, we will be organizing European Digital Health Summit in Madrid in December, specifically on 1st and 2nd of December. My colleague Teresia will post the link in the chat. The registrations are open, and we would love to see you there. For those who are interested, we wanted to make that announcement. Thank you so much in advance for your attention.
Thank you, Alpar. Can we have a short look at our question, please? And then let's close the session.
Of course.
Thank you.
Here we are.
Okay, it's important for the future of us all. I totally agree. I can't say it in another way, because I think it's really important, especially also for the healthcare systems and the recreation of them, because some needs to be maybe restructured or needs some new updates. Thank you very much. So now, can we have the last slide? Because I don't want to let you leave us in giving you some helpful tips. First, we have the picture time. If we want to have a photo here now, then we can make it. If not, I have a lot of pictures of you guys and also our lovely panel already on my screen. but I also wanted to say thank you. And can we have the next slide, please? Exactly. I want to get involved. Means visit our website, so subscribe to our newsletter and join our network, and follow us on the social media channels like on LinkedIn or also on Blue Sky. You can find all the channels and all the information, also some more information details in a short version about Quantum on our website. And now it's on me to thank you for the great sessions. Thank you to the team behind who helped to create this session. Thank you to our lovely speakers and the great discussion. It was really amazing to see how positive we are. And I don't mean that really in a very honest way, because I'm convinced that we can make it too. Please follow the links all the people have posted in our chat. And I wish you now a great afternoon. Grab a cup of coffee. And if you have any questions, let us know. We are there. Have a great afternoon and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Birgit. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.